And then Susanna was hosting. I know she did a podcast with you because I listened to that this week. That was so fabulous. So I didn't have questions or a real agenda. So it's kind of up to you, Andrea, to
Oh
just,
gosh.
I mean, I'm sure we can just have a conversation, but if there's anything you wanted to tell us about your book, which I've been reading right now.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Why don't you tell us about how it all came about? I know that's kind of the first chapter, but I'm sure that there's more than what you just put in the book about what the impetus was to create the book.
There is actually. Yeah, that's a good place to start. And I'm going to go ahead and pour my wine because I am up and I've got some, right?
I've got water because I've already finished off a bottle with Michael over dinner. So.
So what are you pouring, Andrea?
I had a little bit of leftover. I'm so glad actually that it is my morning instead of my last night because yesterday was Ash Wednesday. So
right.
And lots of fasting, right?
Wednesday, you're right. Because yesterday was Fat Tuesday.
So this was an unfinished bottle I had from Tuesday. It is from it's not a winery. They call themselves a collective. And it's if you can hear that, sorry, that was my cats. It's a group of people who are trying to rescue really unknown Turkish grapes. So they're starting slowly. They go around the country and they look for either abandoned vineyards or vineyards that have been continuously farmed by people, but where the grapes are used mostly for table grapes or for molasses production. And then they partner with a Turkish winery and with some Turkish winemakers to make wine with those grapes. And this was made in connection with Vinolus Winery, which is one of my personal favorite wineries. The grape is called Sungurlu. Like no one is making wine with this grape. And they made two wines with this, a still, and this is a traditional method sparkling. So I had a little bit left of that, and that seemed appropriate to pour this morning.
Indeed.
So traditional meaning with the second fermentation in the
bottle.
Okay.
Yes. I have to say it's not been the most successful experiment. It tastes a lot like full Shorla, but it's good at full Shorla, so I'm gonna, happy with that.
In a coupe. I love that.
In a coupe, because why not? It's 7 a.m.
Day drinking.
Day drinking. Really yes. Day drinking. Well, is it day drinking if the sun hasn't come up? I'm not.
No, it doesn't count as day drinking yet. Not until sunrise.
Awesome. Yes, but sorry, the book, coming back there, the book, how it started. No, it did. It had a much bigger backstory than I included. I had just come back to Turkey from, I think I was in Israel, actually, visiting some friends, and we went to a few wineries while we were there. And at one of the wineries, I bought the Wine Routes of Israel book. A beautiful coffee table book, gorgeous. Got it home and flipped through it and really like, Turkey, we don't have this book in Turkey. Why don't we have this book in Turkey? This is, everyone, tourism, obviously, people know Turkey for tourism, but the food is amazing. The wine is really quite good. And why don't we have this book? And I sat around for about 6 months, assuming that one of the other actually Turkish wine bloggers was writing this book. And then, I didn't hear any rumors, nothing was coming out. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. And then about 6 months later, I really got started. I think the active part of writing the book was about 4 years, but the whole process was more like 5.5. Because when I first started, Instagram wasn't very popular here yet. And most wineries don't have websites. So finding contact information that worked and that didn't result in, bounce backs and everything, that took a long time. And then once I got all of that and got started, my research partner and I started sending just blasting emails and making phone calls where they had to be made. And mostly I made her do that because I hate making phone calls. And then you know, add Turkish on top of it, and then I really hate making phone calls. And slowly, that's how we started. And because of the fact that there are no websites,
Right.
also means the majority of wineries here, other than, you know, like the handful that do real exports, nobody has media packages. So I say we had to visit everyone, but frankly, even if I hadn't written the book in the end, it still would have been an amazing experience visiting all these people. So we visited every single winery to do the interviews, but mostly to take the pictures and to really see, because these were some parts of the country that neither of us had ever been to. And now at the end, I say that I've seen all of the wineries, but I haven't seen a lot of Turkey because we get into a city, you know, drive directly to the winery. So I've flown into the city of Izmir, I don't know, 20 times. I've never actually been to the city. One day. So yeah, that's really how it started. That was the impetus. And I couldn't believe that Turkey didn't have its own wine book. And now there are 3. One other one came out right around the same time that mine did. And one of my favorite Instagram, I'd say they're an Instagram account, but it's this amazing couple who is one of the biggest Instagram influencers about wine, rather, in Turkey. They have their own wine shop. They also just published a book about Turkish wine. So I'm a trendsetter.
There you
So
go.
are their books coffee table books as well?
They're not. No, one is
Okay.
one is very small. It's more like a, you know, like as you go handbook kind of a
Right.
thing. And then the new one that Surai and Do came out with is larger format, but not coffee table size, you know. But also very beautiful with lots of pictures of the wineries and helpful information to get around if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is just stunning, and I love the illustrations.
Yes, the maps are beautiful.
My
Yeah.
designer is phenomenal. She really is. And even before the book became an idea, my research partner, Emma, and I started working with Başak to do the infographics, because I love Wine Folly and I love the infographics that they create.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do something similar to that for Turkish grapes. So we sat down with Başak and started working on these. And then when the book really started to become like, oh, this is going to be a real thing, like I'm going to actually have a book, then I reached out to her to also do the design for the whole thing. So yeah, I think, yeah, even if my content were terrible, and yeah, there are a lot of mistakes that I would like to have fixed because I was my own editor, which, you know, something you should never be.
Yeah.
Even I think people have been willing to look beyond the typos and the mistakes in the book because Başak did such a gorgeous job with it. It's so beautiful.
Well, I think also that, I mean, your writing in there is it's so accessible. Do you know what I mean? Like I know that like writing something and you're doing all this research and it's very easy to be very analytical with it, but your writing just has such a flow that it just, like, I start reading it and I just get sucked in. And
Oh,
that, I
thank
think, is
you.
a pretty amazing thing to do with such analytical information, that it's just really good storytelling.
I was going to say that as
Thank you.
well.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that so much. That's what I wanted to do in the end. That was, I mean, I felt like there was so much I wanted to do with the book, but it was really to try to tell their stories as you know, in as much of a 2-page spread as I could.
Right.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's and I mean, you know, Robin, because now you have 2 books. It's like once you've done the book, everyone asked me, oh my gosh, you know, you must be so happy and over the moon, blah. And I'm going,
There's so many things you do differently, right? But it's beautiful. I mean, really, it is so well laid out, and yeah. I mean, my books are tiny. I look forward to doing a book that has much more gravitas to it, as this does.
Yeah, the big heavy hardback cover adds a lot of the gravitas on it. I felt so sorry for the guys who had to deliver my book, because I had a print run done here, knowing that it would be actually less expensive to do that than to like import my own book. So I had a print run done here, and the only place that I had to store, I did 1,000 run because, you know, it worked out per book cheaper. There was no space in my apartment for 1,000 copies of a book this size. So my depot is an empty apartment that a friend owns that's at the top of a 6th floor walk up.
Oh no.
The poor kids who had to deliver these books, man.
Think of, though, if you had brought them into your apartment, the cat furniture you could have created with the stacks of books. Sherlock,
I'm not gonna lie, it was a thought. It was a thought that occurred to me, but since my apartment, it's my office, it's where I do wine tastings. It's like, no, it just couldn't happen here. So I go to my depot every once in a while and I get books, and then unfortunately from my apartment, my depot is down a rather steep hill. So then I schlepp them my feet all the way
up
back
6 flights of stairs, back down, and then up a hill.
Up a hill, and then up my 3 flights of stairs. Yeah, so it's a lot of workout.
Well, maybe you can tell us a bit too about, I mean, I've only seen through your Instagram post and the things that I've been researching about how the earthquakes have impacted Turkey and impacted, because trying to figure out exactly where in the wine regions it actually has hit. I mean, it's devastating the region that it's hit, because it's such a vulnerable region anyway. But I didn't know how, like, stories that you know of the wineries that are near there and the regions that are near there.
It has been, it's something I think we can't, and none of us can really even comprehend the level of devastation out there and the number of people both dead and displaced. Like, we're supposed to have elections in May, and there are a lot of discussions about whether or not they could happen even for the next year, because this level, everything here is on paper. So even if they went ahead with the elections, people from that region couldn't vote because, they've lost their registrations. They've lost any paperwork that even says that they exist. And I know that's like a very small consequence of what's happened, but it kind of, I think, in a way encapsulates that it's not just the loss of your home or God forbid your family, but it's kind of the loss of your legal presence. It's mind-blowing, really, what's happened. For the wine regions, this is the east is where one of our big grapes, what I call one of the the big 6 Boğazkere, that's where this grape comes from. And the area where most of the vineyards are, Diyarbakir, has been one of the heaviest hit by the earthquake. I don't know to what extent all of the vineyards have been damaged, because, I mean, an earthquake doesn't care if you're a city or a field, it destroys everything equally. And most of the people who are farming in Diyarbakir are independent farmers. There aren't commercial wineries there. And I didn't have any contacts to check in with people there to see what the vineyard damage has been. In Hatay, which is also one of the epicenters, there is one winery in Hatay. And that was the first thing I did when I heard about the earthquake and where it was I sent them a message to check in on them. And we were so concerned because I didn't hear back for like 2 days. But they said that physically they're fine. And I think they're where they are, they've sustained some damage, but not total destruction. They haven't said specific. I mean, I think they're just dealing with the horror of everything that's happened around them to even be at all happy about whatever of theirs has been saved. And then a little bit, I'm trying to think of the map in my head, where a little bit more south and east, where Shirnak and Mardin are. This is where the Assyrian wineries are.
Right.
And they were outside of the main area of the earthquake. So they've sustained some damage, very little comparatively.
Right. They're a little further to the east, right?
Yes, a little further to the east, kind of like right at the what's the word that I want? Where the confluence of Turkey, Iraq, and Syria.
Right.
So yeah, the wine regions have been affected. We will probably see the results of that for the next few years, but I mean, when it seems so,
yeah,
the word that I want is, but to compare the loss to the wine world, when you think about the losses that people have sustained, is a little insane.
Yeah.
But when I did the Help Turkey video, I kind of wanted to be able to talk to my people, the wine world, and kind of put things in context for everyone else to say that, yeah, it's not just the middle of nowhere Turkey that's been hit. It's people we know, people who are part of our community, that kind of a thing as well. So yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But Dr. Watson, not your scene.
Hello, Dr. Watson.
I don't know what she's attacking, but it's here's things that can fall down. So that's an interesting way to bring us off such a heavy topic, is to talk.
There you go.
Naughty. There.
I was finally able to find a couple of wines in this country from Turkey. They are from Vinkara.
Oh, okay, lovely.
And there were 3 varieties that I found, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. Maybe I will. Kalajik Karasi?
Almost Kalajik Karasa.
Okay. Not quite almost.
You know, that the I without the dot, that one's, you're like, yeah, what do I do with that? I don't know.
A Kuzgaza? Gazoo?
A couscous. Like,
Okay.
do this with your mouth, and then you got it. A couscous.
Okay. And then Narinja?
Narinja. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm so pleased.
I'm so excited that I found that. It's they have to ship to California though.
Yeah. Where, could I ask, where did you find them?
New York.
Oh, okay. Yep. Gosh, I wish people would. And I had this conversation the other day. It's wine here, especially like good wine here, has always been on the pricier side. But now, after the inflation and the devaluation of the lira, wineries, I don't know who decided to do this, but the majority of wineries are uppricing their wines so much more than inflation calls for. So if our inflation is at like 100% for most things, wine inflation is 200%. And I don't know who they're selling to in this country anymore, especially now. But so they really need to step up their exports. which would also help me a lot with my point about please drink Turkish wine, but nobody can because they can't get it.
Well, we can all keep asking. We can all
Right.
keep requesting it until somebody, chimes in and says, I keep getting asked for this. Maybe I should order some. So
That is my hope. That was my hope to kind of start, create the demand. And then Vinkata is one of the larger exporters, and you can often find their wines in the US, not everywhere in the US. My other friend in Las Vegas orders out of DC, where she orders Turkish wines. But I'm so glad that not only did you find 3 Turkish wines, but you found 3 Turkish grapes.
yeah.
Yes.
Because that's
they
my
may
other
have
argument
actually,
with Turkey. Sorry?
I was going to say they may have had others, but I was looking for specifically for indigenous grapes.
Yes. And this is one of my other arguments with the wineries that do export is, so it's great that you're exporting Hussar, but stop exporting your Cabernet.
Yeah.
Right.
America has plenty Cabernet.
Yes.
Yeah, and the grapes that you found, Vinkata, sorry, now I'm going to go off on a complete tangent. Vinkata is located near Ankara, near the capital, which is the home of this Kalecik Karasa grape. The other 2 grapes, they also plant in their own home vineyards. A lot of wineries here buy in from independent growers in the different regions because either they don't have the manpower or the money to sustain their own vineyards. So independent growers are a great option for a lot of people here. But Vinkata does everything in-house. They have some really great winemakers there. And they're a really good winery. I really like their wines.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to hear that. Do you have any suggestions of what I should make when I pour these, food-wise?
Oh, crikey. Could I ask what are these a reserve, or they just say the grape name?
It just said the grape name.
Okay. No, I know exactly what they are then.
Okay.
The Narinja. The Narinja is quite flexible. Actually, it will go with a lot of things. It is not oak aged.
Okay.
So definitely keep things on the lighter side. I like to serve Narinja generally with meze, if because so it does fairly well with kind of like the stuffed grape leaves, kind of what we call the oily meze here. But also you can do it absolutely with a main, like with chicken or a lighter fish, maybe something with a little bit of a fruit sauce or a salad of some sort. The accuse guzu, it's been a while since I've had that accuse guzu. Both accuse guzu and Kalecik Karasa are on the lighter medium bodied side, not a lot of tannin. You're in a warmer climate, so I don't even have to say you have to wait until summer. They do really well with what do you call it? Like grilled foods, grilled vegetables, because I know you try to stay meatless during the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so think grilled vegetables, very mushroom friendly, especially the Kalecik Karasa.
Oh, good. Okay.
And especially for the Kalecik Karasa, pepper, like black pepper, that kind of flavor. Truffled anything does pretty well with Kalecik Karasa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy. I hope you enjoy them.
Oh, I will. So I just got a warning. We have 9 minutes left.
No.
I know, I'm sorry. But can you tell us a little bit about the Greek book in the works? Is that coming along? Is that
it is, and it's not in the works. I'm still trying to finish my Unit 2 in Italian Wine Scholar program. So I should have taken the test last summer, but kind of got distracted by selling a book. I extended for 1 more year, and I'm actually trying to study now. that's off my plate. Yes, and I can dive a little bit deeper into the Greek book. My friend Anna Maria from Unraveling Wine and Chania Wine Tour on Crete saw my book and said that she was jealous and horrified and outraged that there was a better book about Turkish wine than there was about Greek wine. So we had this idea last year to start doing our own, like start doing the Greek version of this book. She though is, from like mid-March through October, because she and Yannis, they're the ones who, they're a 2-person tour company that's very highly in demand because they're the only tour company, like wine tour company, I think, on Crete. So she's been out of commission during that. I've been trying to study for the Italian Wine Scholar program. And eventually one of these days, we're really going to get into the research. It's a little bit easier than the Turkish book because people do have websites, people do answer emails. They have media packages and photographs ready to go. So it's not like I'm going to have to visit. I mean, such the hardship. I'm going to have to visit, all, I don't know, 800 wine. I have no idea how many wineries there even are in Greece. I'm still in the process of like making the master list of all of the wineries. And we realize that unless we want the book to be the size of, Jancis Robinson's wine grapes, we have to be a little bit more selective with what books or which wineries get into the book. Right. And we're still in that process. So we're still kind of in like the light research. But yes, it's going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. And I work for a winery on Santorini, and Yannis keeps kind of reminding me, so how's that book going? How's that book going? So like I can't get away from it. So.
Am I remembering correctly that in the podcast I heard that this book was in the works for a greater part of a decade? Is that right? The Turkish wine.
The Turkish wine. I think, yep, start to finish, it took about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of that was figuring out how to get in touch with the wineries. That really truly took about 6 months. And then I wasted 6 months trying to find a traditional publisher. And during that time hadn't given Başak the go ahead to do the design for the book, because I was like, maybe a publisher will have their own ideas about what they want in the book. And then after I gave up on a traditional publisher and went the self-published route and gave her the, okay, go ahead, do it. Took her about 7 months. So that's why I say the active part, traveling and writing, and that was about 4 years, I think. And then everything else around it just added to the time. So I hope the Greek book won't take that long once I really get into it. But we will see.
Well, I suspect you kind of honed.
No more like online certifications, no more nothing until
And I suspect through this process, you kind of honed, how you interview and what you ask for and how you do your photos. So it should be a smoother run for Greece. And you're saying Greece, the country, not Crete, the island, right?
No, Crete. Yeah, Greece, the country. It's just Anna Maria is on Crete. So,
oh, okay. Got it.
Which also is great, though, because it means, Crete has a lot of wineries. And Anna Maria works with most of them already. So like if they don't respond to her email, she's just going to rock up to their winery.
Knock, knock, knock.
And she's a forceful personality, this woman. So, you don't want to ignore her emails.
Well, that is fantastic.
So don't look for that for at least like 2-3 years from now. It's going to happen. It's great that we're close, and it's like an hour flight to Athens. So it's
oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm in Athens a lot. I haven't made it outside of Athens a ton, but it's at least easy to get to Athens. And I'm really excited about doing the Greek book because we share so many grapes with Greece. We really only know about 3 at the moment that we're entirely sure are the same grape between the 2 countries.
Oh, okay.
But it's still really fascinating. I'm sure that there are more. I'm also sure no one is doing the research.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so many of the grapes and finding out about the viticulture and those kind of things that are going to be they're actually going to be scientific discoveries that that you're going to put together the pieces. That's exciting and fascinating.
We'll see. I mean, I don't have I need to find the contacts in Greece to see who, like, where they're doing the studies on these things, and then go on their door, because I've done that for the here side, and then we'll see if we can make some connections and make some of that happen.
Very cool.
So fascinating to drink the two wines side by side, because they are completely different. Which, of course, a lot of that comes down to the winemaker, but they are completely. And I would never know that they're the same grape that I'm being given.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, the same grape, but slightly different. All of the things that go into making, wine, and how even when you know that you're drinking, I don't know, Syrah, it tastes very different from, Australia to the Rhone, right?
Or even soils, or even row by row. So you bring in all those things, and
Exactly. Yeah. So, but it's still, I think it's very cool and geeky. And I wish I could get more of the Greek wine here so that I could do more of these kind of comparisons. But we only have 4 Greek wines here, and none of them are a shared grape. So
more flights to Athens.
More flights to Athens. I'm just gonna have to start bringing more Turkish wine to Turkey. To Greece, I think, is what I'm gonna have to do, because
there you go.
They're a little bit more flexible about what I can bring in than Turkey is.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I think they care less at the airport.
So, ladies, I have just about a minute and a half left. Anything you want to wrap us up with?
No, I just thank you so much for starting with me. I love the idea of this book club, and I'm honored and thrilled that you started with me. Thank you. It's my labor of love. I hate
gorgeous.
it. Kind of, everything about it.
Yeah.
All of the emotions. Thank you.
It is your child.
It's a beautiful book.
It is.
And I put it in the corner sometimes when it's been bad. So
well, thank you, ladies. I don't want to hang up on you. So I'm just going to stop recording now.